Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. Welcome to an unprecedented special episode of Monorail Memoirs. Today, we're going to be talking about all of the D23 announcements, specifically that just affect Walt Disney World. So, we're not talking about Tomorrowland being redone in Disneyland. We're not talking about Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris going back to its original theme. None of that. Just Walt Disney World. Lauren, how have you been tracking the D23 announcements?
Yeah, so I've mainly been getting my feeds from kind of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and kind of Instagram. I've been following, the likes of Tim Becker and, people like that. Just kind of giving a few clips here and there. Gosh, we really need to get in on this because I've got a lot to say.
Good. Well, we're gonna go bit by bit. This is just done in scattergun order, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. So starting with, we knew Piston Peak was going to be the Cars Land being brought to the Magic Kingdom. Specifically, it's going to be where the riverboat used to be and is now next to Haunted Mansion. But we knew there was going to be a ride there. We knew at least one. We now have a name for this. This is the Ridge Run Rally. This is the upcoming attraction that's going to be in the Cars Land. It's the main bit that we expected. This is some concept art that we have here. The understanding is that it's not going to be on a track per se. These are going to be vehicles where you actually experience the bumps. The ride suspension is going to be a key part of this. And I mean, these are some of the concept means nothing, right? It literally means nothing. They could do anything they want with it. But these are some of the images that we are getting. This is going to be the prime numero uno attraction within the new Cars area. Lauren, what do you think?
I feel like it is the test track that maybe should be.
Okay, that's interesting. That is an interesting comparison because I suppose obviously it's just cars again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cars in Cars Land, I suppose, but it's just cars again. I think, to me, actually, this is the modern version of what the Speedway is.
Oh, okay.
It's the Speedway with IP slapped on it, but hopefully a little bit more up to date, a little bit more modern. And from the few images that we do have, you can see there's probably 4 people, maybe 6 people in a ride vehicle, depending on how they want to go from the capacity standpoint, but certainly 4 people, unlike your Autopia Speedway, where you get maybe 2, one, an adult and a child, or 2 small adults, I guess. I'm not against this at all, and it's nice that we actually now have a focal point to be able to say, well, this is going to be the main attraction there. It's still a little bit sad, I think, that the riverboat's gone, but also people didn't really do it. Tom Sawyer's Island, who went there?
No, I know, and we are obviously Disney lovers. We do things that maybe isn't on everybody's list, and that even wasn't on ours really, particularly. It did kind of lose a lot of its steam, I do feel like.
Ha ha. Brava.
I'm excited for it. I think that it's needed. I do think Magic Kingdom does need a bit of a spruce up, as we were saying in an earlier episode. Things may be starting to feel a little bit tired and things like that. And obviously slapping IP on it is going to make people want to come to it. Yes. But I am concerned slightly about the wait times because of the capacity. Okay. I feel like they're not going to be able to have a lot of cars on at once.
That's a good point.
If it only takes 4 to 6 people, that's going to take a long time to churn through those people.
Yeah, it will do. I hadn't really considered that, but you're right. If you think that Test Track can have something like 12 cars on track at any one time, if you think that that's only got 6 people at a time, your hourly rate isn't amazing. And when you consider that this is going to be the headline attraction for the Cars Land within Magic Kingdom, it's going to take up a lot. It's not the only attraction though in Cars Land. There's a second attraction that's been referred to, Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin Along. Now, Miss Fritter, for those who don't know, this is from Cars 3. This is the sort of a demolition derby queen. We know very little about this one. All I can say is 2 things. One, this is clearly going to be available for a younger audience, and not least because concept art tells us that. I think, though, and I'm just looking at it, I'm slightly concerned that this is just the alien swirling saucers with a different theme.
Yeah, they do have one in Disneyland Paris that is actually Cars themed, and it is basically that. It's, you know, like a very little car, and you do kind of just spin around. Another thing that concerns me about the concept art is there's no roof. So will it be one that goes down?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's an excellent shout. I hadn't even seen that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Something
Oh,
else that I've just noticed as well, I don't know if you might get wet on it, because I think at the top there is actually a hose pipe there.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, whether or
But
not
yeah,
the time will actually get you wet, or whether or not it's just sort of the atmospherics, but the no roof.
I get concerned when there's no roof, because we all know what Florida's like.
I honestly hadn't even thought of that. To be fair, when Disney built Toy Story Land, they certainly didn't think of that either, because that was a complete fucking complete flipping cluster. Let's just move swiftly on. Oh dear, that was not ideal. It's fine. It's not like we're monetizing this anyway, Buff. So Magic Kingdom is getting more than just cars. However, we knew cars was always happening. The following item we always knew was going to be happening as well, but now there's more detail. The Villains Land in Magic Kingdom is going to be called Villains Land. That, I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit of a letdown. But we know that there is going to be a new attraction featuring Maleficent, specifically from Sleeping Beauty, of course. Which was, you know, very interesting. It looks like a roller coaster. Again, this isn't even concept art. This is just on the left side of the screen. People sat in what looks like possibly a villains themed version of Big Thunder Mountain. Don't know. There's so much left to be understood. There's also a second ride going to be in Villains Land as well, and this is going to be based upon the magic mirror from Snow White, as you see on the left there, and all of these different classic Disney villains that you see on screen are going to be part of the feature set. Now, my question here is, as I look at the bottom right hand side, I look at the boat, all I can think here is this is Pirates of the Caribbean-esque in terms of its setup. But Villains Land, okay, I'm sort of here for it. And yeah, having one as sort of a roller coaster, faster ride, one as more of a family one, I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't. However, I do feel like it may be one that people avoid with small children. But as we saw from the concept art there, it suggests that it might not be kind of too scary, you know, the boat ride, because there was a couple of children there. So I don't know if that suggests that it might be a watered down version of what we're all maybe.
A watered down boat ride. That's hilarious, Lauren. Yes, a watered down boat ride. Well done. Great pun there. My sort of observation here is Disney has played around the idea of doing a villains thing for quite some time. Getting the balance right for the audience is going to be key. You know, are you going to be aiming this at 3-year-olds? Probably not, but you're also not aiming this at teenagers. You're in that. You need to be comfortable with the 5 to 9 market, because of course the parents will go along if the children want to. But it has to be suitable for them. Otherwise, a lot of families, a lot of the key demographics that goes to Disney, especially Magic Kingdom, are going to be turned off by this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we're not, as you say, looking for a Halloween Horror Nights-esque, you know, Disney's answer to Halloween Horror Nights. It's not going to be like that. You know, it's not going to be, you know, the actual horror films. And yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of explanation needed for those to feel comfortable taking their children on a scary ride. I know that in Epic Universe over in Universal in Florida, they do have kind of a villainy area. Now, I think it's got things like Frankenstein's monster and, you know, kind of Dracula and stuff like that. And I don't tend to see a lot of kind of videos or kind of feedback on that. It's more kind of the other lands. So I'm not sure if it might underperform against Cars, depending on when they're both going to be released.
Yeah, indeed, and anytime there's any new area in Disney, Pandora's a great example. Anytime there's a new area, the initial crowds for the first 12 months are going to be quite significant. And then as it becomes, some repeat visitors are coming and they decide whether or not they do or don't want to engage with it, that's when you get a baseline understanding of how popular is this area actually. I think it could do really well. I really do. And so I'm not against this idea of Villains Land, and a couple of rides in there, great. We are now going to move, again, this is a scattergun approach, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to be everywhere. But now moving to the best park in Walt Disney World, we're now moving to Epcot. This is something, and so you've heard me complain very recently, as recently as 2 weeks ago, that the Journey into Imagination is borderline broken. It needs an awful lot of work doing to it, and I've spoken about Figment. Figment is the pseudo mascot now of Epcot, but what they are doing, undeniably, is they're bringing back the Dreamfinder. Now, the Dreamfinder is part of the original Journey into Imagination attraction, long gone before either of us were sort of cognitively aware about it. But the uproar. Well, because I said the applause from people in the audience, diehard Disney fans at D23. This was great news for them. Does it really change the price of fish? Maybe not, but it sounds like Figment is going to get the ride upgrade it desperately needs.
Yeah, and as you say, I'm hoping that they're going to do some fixes and kind of vamp the whole thing, because I do love Figment. It does have a special place in my heart. As you say, we didn't really remember the Dreamfinder very much, but then that kind of worries me. We are just over 30, and is this going to attract people? I know. Is this going to attract people into the parks, or is this something that's just going to kind of appease the Disney adult?
Yeah, nobody is going to Epcot to do Figment. It's not happening. And the Dreamfinder, okay, it's a bit of a homage. I still think actually the biggest thing that needs to be done, apart from sprucing up the ride, as I mentioned before, is the Imagination Pavilion at the back of it. Something needs to happen with that. I don't know what, but something needs to happen. We'll move on now, away from Epcot. We are going to come back later, but away from Epcot, I'm going to Hollywood Studios because we're going to Monstropolis. We have got the date for this. Monstropolis is opening in 2027. We now know this is going to be a next year event. This is physically located where the Muppets Courtyard used to be, and we know there's going to be a show. Randy Newman actually is going to be writing some original music for it, which is most unusual. And the fact that he hasn't done anything for the Disney parks is quite unusual. You sort of just would have thought that he had over time, but he hasn't. So Newman is going to be writing some particular music for this. That's the stage show aspect to it. That's the new announcement. We've always known that there's going to be a roller coaster. We've always known this, the idea that you're being swept up by the doors, and you can see the concept art there. On the right-hand side, the actual ride vehicle looks almost like a bucket seat that you sit in, and your feet will be suspended and dangling from height. Now, okay, only one of that was actually really an announcement, but I think Monstropolis, it's going to be more popular than Muppets Courtyard was.
Absolutely, and I am very excited about this one. I cannot wait for Monsters Inc. Land to kind of come about. When the Doors ride announcement was made, like quite a while back, I think, wasn't it? I got really excited because I thought, you know what, this is a massive kind of untapped area, because I don't know when Monsters Inc. came out, but something shouting at me like 2001-ish or something.
A long time ago. Yeah. Let me get exactly, but carry on.
And I just think, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's 25 years. It was 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was around 2001. And I'm just really excited about it. And the thing that I'm most excited for is the ride format. We've not seen this before in Disney. We don't have a ride other than soaring, obviously, that your feet dangle, but you're not kind of moving. You're just going up. This one, you're full on going around like a roller coaster. You're suspended. Oh, I just cannot wait.
Agreed. I think it's a great show, and I'm really interested in the implementation. The only observation that I'll make is, okay, so Monsters Inc. came out in 2001, and then, 10 plus years later came Monsters University. I'm not sure how many of the younger visitors are really going to get it. I mean, okay, with Disney Plus and the fact that Disney Vault no longer exists, maybe people are watching these things more often anyway, but I think it's going to be good. I also think with it being right next to Galaxy's Edge, that's going to be a really busy, congested part of the park, and it's also next to my favorite eatery as well, which is Baseline Tap House. So
Yeah.
it's going to be very busy indeed. Allow me to jump over to Hollywood Studios now. Isle of Americas it was something that has already been announced anyway. This was announced a little while ago, but now we have more information about the Encanto ride here. Antonio's Fiesta de Encanto. This is going to be the new ride here. And one of the things really interesting is it's actually going to feature the original voice actors from the film itself. And of course, some of those are quite big names. The concept art gives us very little. Clearly we're sort of seated here, 4 abreast, 2 rows at a time, and it appears that we're going through the Casa de Madrigal, I guess. It should be good, and like this is all part of the new. This is where Dinosaur used to be, ladies and gentlemen. This is where Dinoland USA is now gone. And so, as far as this is concerned, I see it's nice that we've actually got something solid. We knew there was going to be an Encanto attraction. It's not anything that I am particularly overly excited or not about. I think fair enough, pretty content.
Yeah, I think that from looking at the concept art, it looks like it could be one of those trackless rides. No one cares about the cat. It looks like it could be one of those trackless rides. Obviously, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is still in the same park, so I'm not sure if it's going to be kind of.
Wait, what? No, it's not. You on crack?
Oh, sorry. No, they were in.
Oh, she's smoking something. She's smoking something.
Apologies.
She has no idea what's going on.
I do think that it might be a bit of a carbon copy. Oh, it might be a bit of a carbon copy of that.
Maybe so in terms of the trackless sort of ride format. But again, fair enough. I imagine it'll be busy at first. I can't imagine this being a showstopper. But then I think Disney Imagineering recently have been given a bit more permission to go and do things. The entire D23 announcement set has been more impressive than anyone imagined. We're not going to touch on the movies here, but the movies themselves, Incredibles 3, new Frozen as well. Like they've really gone to town on it. There is, however, something else I wish to discuss here. This is within the same part of Animal Kingdom. It's within the aisle we've just been discussing, and this is going to be the new Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent. This is the new attraction that's being built, so it's not going to be a carbon copy of the ride over in Disneyland. A lot of us thought that it was going to be, but clearly it isn't. Whole story revolves around this serpent, which, if from a concept art, is pretty cool, but tangibly means nothing. What is interesting, however, is Harrison Ford is going to be the animatronic figure. They are bringing him back as part of D23. They actually did the announcement with him. I quite like the Indiana Jones attraction in Disneyland. I think the theming doesn't necessarily make sense with with Animal Kingdom. It makes more sense in Hollywood Studios, but here we are, and I'm not really against it.
I'm kind of in the middle about it. I think Indiana Jones has been and gone. I feel like that people will be like, Indiana who? And, not that to take away from the films, they were amazing. They definitely have their place in the lore of, movie making and all that sort of stuff. But it's not current enough for the that it's pitching to. It just isn't.
It was a while ago. I completely agree. I think it's a bit of a miss, actually.
I do.
But it's IP, and as we discussed before, if it's not IP, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Moving back to Magic Kingdom, as we all know, the best attraction in the world actually is currently closed. We're not going to see John and Sarah and moving through the 20th century's American family, but we do have some more information of what we are getting. We are getting the voice actors. The voicing from Jamie Lee Curtis and Bryan Cranston, 2 pretty well-known actors in their own right. We've discussed previously on this show about the changes being made. Is there anything, apart from the new announcements of the actors in question, there's nothing too groundbreaking. Lauren, how do you, as someone who's able to appreciate that this is the best attraction, how do you feel about the changes being made?
I'm a bit kind of gutted, obviously, that the original's going gone, because it was a cool original thing. However, I do feel like it does need an update. Obviously, things were looking a little bit tired. I'm just really concerned that it is because
Please continue. I'm going to take my cat outside.
because we didn't have. Well, so because the old attraction was kind of grounded in Disney lore, you know, it was massive, the 64 World's Fair, you know, it was a big thing.
Sherman Brothers wrote the theme tune.
Yeah. Now I'm a bit like, right, so you've made an attraction that people loved because of its history into something else that no longer has any ties to anything whatsoever.
Fact. I'm also terrified they're going to sneak IP into this.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified. I'm terrified that in the 1969 moon landing, they're going to make some sort of reference to going to Disney World. I'm just terrified. Yeah. That's not what it was supposed to be. If you'd called this something else and made it as a separate attraction, a separate stage show, even with a revolving theatre, I would have been able to be on board. But I just can't. I just can't get on board with this. Moving to Animal Kingdom again, because we are hodgepodge all over the place. The Yeti is getting some work done to it. The Yeti, which was famously broken for most of its life, and now is just some really poor quality lighting that flashes to try and make it look like it's doing something. The Yeti is getting an upgrade. It's not going to change the ride, but hey, we'll be able to see the Yeti finally.
Woo! Yeah, I am concerned about the amount of downtime that it's going to need, though. I don't know whether or not they're going to try and time it with the opening of the Tropical Americas so that the crowd kind of draws into there, and then they can shut an e-ticket. To me, that would make sense.
Is it still an e-ticket?
I would class it as. I think it's.
Yeah, I suppose it is. But I mean, the wait times are not, 10, 15 minutes?
No, but equally, the capacity is quite big.
That's true.
And I do feel like there is a draw there. Like, for example, one of my friends are there at the minute and she's never been before, and she goes on about Everest as being an amazing ride. So, you know, and I agree. I absolutely love Everest. I would go to Animal Kingdom to do Everest and the safari, and then I could go home. You know, that is kind of, and I'm just worried that if the Tropical Americas isn't open just yet and they close it, it's like, oh, where are all these crowds going to go?
No, I completely agree. And I think that, Animal Kingdom's able to absorb crowds in a way that a lot of other parks are, just because of its sheer size. Yeah. That and the safari does take people for 20 minutes at a time. So the Yeti is getting some work done. That's fine. Now I'm going to go to our penultimate story. I'm running back over to Epcot. We all know Spaceship Earth. I mean, to start with, by the way, this is still the new entrance. I think it looks awful with that weird little pillar thing in the middle. It's better than the old. Is it better than the old concrete faces? I don't know anymore. So like a graveyard before, but I felt there was something about it. Anywho, it's lit up. Very nice. Spaceship Earth, the icon of Epcot, is getting an update.
Yeah.
The concern I have is that Dame Judi Dench wouldn't do the narration. We don't know if that's true. I'm not saying she isn't. My concern is that she wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. And they also switching the focus from communication to connection. Yeah, and I'm a bit like, oh, how is that going to work? I'm worried. I am worried because yes, it needed an upgrade. I'm not saying that it didn't, but a technical upgrade. You know,
yes.
Full screens of what the ending is, all that sort of stuff. But the story, the sentiment, Dame Judi Dench staying there, you know, all that sort of stuff. I want all that to stay the same, but a technical upgrade, yes.
I agree. Allow me to quote here from the D23 announcement. It'll bring new magic to every scene, but remain classically Epcot. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to suggest that they're gonna throw it all down the pan, but we'll wait and see. We will. I like our final announcement, the final ride-based announcement for Walt Disney World. Then we're going back to Hollywood Studios. So this, of course, is Smuggler's Run. This is, I mean, my understanding is there's absolutely some work ongoing at the minute because the engineer position means nothing. But in what can only be described as something I did not have on my bingo card, there is a Fortnite crossover. Fortnite, for those who don't know, is primarily a children's game, and they play online and they sort of, it's like character shooting guys. Anyway, what the hell?
Why is that needed? That is just, I agree that the engineer position needs to be changed because you literally just do this, you know. Yes, you need something else. When the whole pilot and co-pilot are full on doing the whole shebang, you need to do more than just this. So like my husband, for example, the only time that we've ridden it, I was the pilot, he was the engineer, and he was like, that was a shocking ride. And I was like, I thought it was quite good. But obviously we had two completely different experiences. So yes, again, a technical upgrade, not possibly a story upgrade.
Just why Fortnite?
I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of loot box in it. You got to put. I haven't a clue. I think of all the announcements, that is the only one that made me go, "This is objectively stupid."
Yeah, I agree.
But we've been through quite a lot there. So, Lauren, if I was to ask you, out of those D23 announcements, what are you most looking forward to?
I would say Cars Land.
I have to agree.
Cars Land. What else to think?
No, I think Piston Peak National Park, along with the Ridge Run Rally, that's going to be difficult to say when drunk. The Ridge Run Rally, I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. Villains Land is a close second for me, because not because I'm necessarily interested in villains, but more I'm interested in how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a really difficult project to pull off. But I think the Ridge Run Rally and the entire Piston Peak National Park, like you said, is the one to watch. Please let us know, though, folks, in the comments what you're most excited for what has been possibly the best D23 in the last 5 or so years. The announcements have been extensive. Yes, there's a lot more details that we don't quite have yet, and we look forward to digging into. But until next time, please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.
Bye.